Yo, this is MC Light, and you're checking out All Hip Hop.
Yo, what's going on, world? It's your man Chuck Creekmur, aka Jigsaw. We are here in invite only with the one and only icon, pioneer, legend, multi hyphenate, polymath, MC Light. You like
Woohoo!
that polymath though, right?
Yeah, yeah, I never heard that.
Look that one up.
Right.
How you
Gonna
doing?
make me go to the dictionary.
Right.
I'm good.
Yeah,
You know, life is good. We're all out here doing what we love,
yeah.
hopefully. And yeah, I'm just taking advantage of this moment where I'm still able.
Still able.
Yeah.
Well, you're very, very able. One of One is your new album,
Yes.
and it's an amazing body of work. I like to call things body of work now
Okay.
because it's an album, obviously, but not in the context of the here and the now.
Okay.
It's ambitious, and you have a lot of features on there.
Yeah.
Can you explain to us and the audience what was your goal with this album? And it's been a long time, by the way.
Yeah, it's been a really long time, 10 years. The goal with this album was just to create some music that was really inspiring, aspirational. And I think somewhere in there, I realized that only I could do it. So Afion, who is a really good friend, came into the studio. He worked with us on a song called All Right.
Okay.
And then he worked on another song called Higher, which will be on the next release. But at a certain point, he was like, what time we going to the studio? I was like, I'll let you know. What day we going in? I'll let you know. And then finally, I was like, you know what? Let me call this dude and tell him, Afion, I love you, but this record has gotten really personal. And it's gotten really intimate, and I need to do it. And so from there came Thank You and King, and you know, the songs that are really monumental for someone to listen to and say, oh yeah, I see where she's going.
Yeah. So, well, Afion Crockett, by the way, for those that don't know, he's an amazing comedian, but he's also probably one of the biggest hip hop heads I've ever met in my
Yes,
life.
yes. He's an
Very cool.
MC.
MC, very cool guy.
Yeah.
You did a song with Stevie Wonder
Yeah.
and Common. Seems to be it wasn't released as a single, but that
Not
particular
yet.
song not yet. All right, okay. But that song seems to be one of the most popular songs.
It is. It is the most streamed song from the album.
Yeah. Why would you? Why is that?
You know, it's interesting because people don't know. You know, people like to try to say, "Oh, well, your demo isn't on DSPs." Or their demo is over there, or that person is. People don't know,
Yeah.
and I think as soon as we can really admit that, we can just let the music be what it is.
Yeah.
Let people find it when they find it, and it's all good. And so for Change Your Ways on that platform, you know, on the DSPs to be the most streamed
Yeah.
seems so unlikely.
Yeah.
However, the song came by a gentleman named Concept
Okay.
out of Inland Empire in Los Angeles. This is his first release
Really?
ever.
Get out.
Young producer. And so when I heard it, I was like, oh, I want to do something with that. He was like, okay, go ahead. So the first person I thought of was Common. Right after I wrote my first verse, I was like, okay, this is something that I can call Common on. And I actually sent Common that song, and I sent him King of Chill's song, which is Light Ghost Lil Mama. And, you know, Common was like, I want to get on that one. I was like, no, I need you on this one.
Right.
He was like, but I really like that one. I was like, I got somebody for that one already. I need you on this one. So, you know, he gifted me with that verse. And then Stevie Wonder was the last to get. And Warren Campbell, who's the executive producer, is one of his MDs. So it made it real easy. You know, Warren was like, yo, Stevie, we need you on this. And Stevie and I have been friends. We talk. And, you know, he always calls me up to tell me a story or two, which I love to hear.
Right.
And so we were able to make it happen. I'm really blessed to have Stevie Wonder and his harmonica.
That's crazy. I just saw him in concert recently.
Okay.
He's touring the nation in battleground states to, encourage people to vote through music. And I was just like, this guy's goat. I
Yeah.
mean, like beyond goat. Like I
Yeah.
don't even know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, you mentioned Lil Mama and referred to Ghostface. Those two. Well, Ghostface was edited pretty heavily on his verse.
He had to be.
Yeah.
Right.
But
For an MC Light record.
right,
You
right,
know what I
right.
mean?
But it was good. I mean, it was
Yeah.
dope. Lil Mama in particular. I know you guys are close. I always wondered, like, do you see yourself in her? Like, what's the nature of y'all's closeness?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
See her. I see me in her. Long before I had met her, Laretha Jones, who was, the head over at, I think she was over at MTV Paramount at the time before she went to BET. And she started talking to me about this. Have you met Lil Mama? And I was like, no. She was like, oh my God, she reminds me of you. And so I went through several people who I knew very well and who knew me, who told me that she reminded them of me.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, they know me pretty well enough, so I'm looking forward to meeting her. And then when I met her, I was like, oh yeah, I see exactly why. It's Brooklyn all day. But I think she's one of the most underrated MCs ever. And as a matter of fact, when I told her to get down on the record, she did like a 32 bar verse. And so we had to find the parts to make it fit for 16. But maybe one day we'll let that whole 32 out because she's nasty.
Yeah, definitely. You mentioned King of Chill. I was gonna actually refer to him later. Can you tell people who he is and explain to folks how far back y'all go?
Sure thing. King of Chill is Creepy Clown on IG.
Right.
He's a lover of was a homegirl from Good Times.
Thelma.
Thelma.
Thelma. Yeah,
Thelma.
yeah.
He is
Bernadette
Thelma crazy.
Stannis. Yeah.
He's been Thelma crazy since the day I met him.
Wow, that's a fun fact.
But he
Yeah.
did Stop, Look, and Listen. He did Paper Thin. He did Light as a Rock. And he produced and wrote Cha Cha Cha. Yeah.
No, he's a legend, and he's producing on this album too.
Yes, he produced the song Light Ghost Mama. And he named it. I was like, we need a name for the song. He was like, Light Ghost Mama. I was like, what?
Yeah.
He was like, trust me. He always has a
I
reason.
had to do a double take on that. I was like, what? The title? Okay.
Yeah, why?
Yeah.
Or the title is The People?
Right.
He was like, yeah, trust me on this. I said, he always has a reason. It was almost like Cha 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 almost didn't. I was like, what is this Mardi Gras talk? You
right.
know? But I trusted, and I think that's what a lot of managers, record labels, producers that they're working with new talent, they just need you to trust them. So trust me on this. We'll see how it goes, and then we can go from there. And from what I heard with Christina Milan and Rihanna is LA had given her SOS, and Christina was like, nah.
Yeah.
He was like, okay, you just wait.
Right.
And he gave it to Rihanna, it blew up, and
Everything
then they
changes.
let Christina go, unfortunately. But sometimes when you don't know, you just gotta give the reins to someone you trust that has been there before to take you to the finish line.
Yeah. I was thinking about at least my perspective of your journey, and I just wanted to add, this even might sound like a weird question, but how has your experience as a woman in hip hop been? Because when you think of the various eras of hip hop, it's been a lot of change. It's been really brutal for women at times. You had 3 bodyguards at one point in your career, and I was like, 3? That's a lot.
It's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And not all 3 were on me all the time.
Okay,
We had the Legs, which were 2 young guys who were literally from Alaska. So now they're here in the States. They're dancing with me. Their families are in Anchorage. I can't have anything happen to them. So we had security that could sort of break off and go with them if they needed to go anywhere.
Okay.
And it was just people was wilding.
Yeah, back
Yeah,
then.
so you needed it. But as a female MC, This is always hard for me to answer because I don't want to make it seem like it was a walk in the park. But for me, everyone else worked so hard around me that I didn't have to feel all of what could have been. And so I'm just really thankful to those who, my manager back then, Nat Robinson, and the security people, and those people from the record label. They really looked out for a young artist, and so I think that I probably got away with things that people don't get away with
Like
now.
what?
Well, I dressed the way that I wanted. I said whatever I wanted.
Right.
I showed up no makeup. Like I just showed up as a kid from a Brooklyn block.
Right.
And there was no scolding about it or yeah. I just was free.
Oh wow, that's strong. By the way, I have to shout out my brother, Bow-legged Lou, who sent me a text and said and talked about really at length about how his father helped you out. Could you talk about that a little bit early on in your career when you were really young?
Yeah, George Lucien would come by my house and like practice with me from about maybe 12 in the afternoon to about 3 every Saturday. And I'd have to say other people's lyrics like Salt and Pepper and Sequence, just to get my vocals strong and be able to come from the diaphragm. And that went on for quite some time. So by the time I went to meet the record label, I was already ready.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh wow, she's ready."
Yeah.
So he put in all that work.
Right. Did you know the history you were making when you dropped Light as Rock? Like, did all of you realize that this was history being made?
I think the management, maybe Audio 2, maybe the producers, maybe King of Chill, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I was just there. I was having a good time. I was doing what I only imagined I'd have the opportunity to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who'd you look up to? I mean, you mentioned Salt and Pepper, but were
Yes.
there any other?
Salt and Pepper. I listened to Sweet Tea.
Shout out to her.
And I listened to Sparky D and Roxanne Shante and Finesse and Sinquest. And I mean, I listened to all the female MCs because I wanted to see what was happening and, who was coming with what style. Yeah.
How did it feel when you had to go at Roxanne?
Oh, it didn't feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it wasn't really her.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was Granddaddy IU.
Yeah.
Who I don't know if he came up with this idea or if the record label had charged him with this idea. But yeah, then I had to go at her and it just wasn't.
Yeah.
It was like, crappy. But then, I had a chance to go to her ice cream store in Queens and, we shook hands, we hugged and that was real because it's been real ever since. And, the older you get in this, if you've allowed the game to teach you anything, you can be really knowledgeable to speak to and very pleasant. And so a conversation with Roxanne, with Shantae, I get to learn.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's great to be the OG in the room, but it's always, that much deeper when you can be in a room with people who have been in it before you and you can get that wisdom.
Yeah. Well, one thing you've done extremely well is you've just aged very gracefully.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's I think maybe a more difficult route because in trying to keep up or trying to force the audience to accept you in a form that you may not be naturally in, but it seems like you're very natural with it. What would be your secret?
Oh goodness.
Yeah. Do you have a secret?
I don't know.
You don't know?
If it is, it's a secret to me too.
Yeah.
But if I'm understanding the nature of your question, it's not outward aesthetics you're
Yeah,
speaking
not
of.
necessarily. Yeah, not. We
Right.
know you drink water like things
Right.
like that. Although you had quite a bit of junk food out there.
You know what? You're not supposed to tell
My
me.
bad. My
And that
bad.
doesn't happen. Only when you come into all hip hop do they give you chips for breakfast. Like what the no.
Sorry.
I
My bad.
I ate them though. I needed them. Um no, I think it's just finding everything interesting. Yeah, having a curiosity about life, and it's just like Dougie. Dougie and I, no matter where it is, our entourages hate to see the either coming. Because it means we're going to stand wherever we are and we're going to talk for about 40 minutes about any and everything because we have a general interest, not just in one another, but in life. And so as we're talking, we go from one subject to the next to the next. No one has to scream out, subject change. It just
Right.
happens. And so I think just having that fervor for life and people, it just keeps you young because you're
Yeah.
in the know.
I saw you, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, DJ Jazzy Jeff, even legendary Lady B. Recently at a voter registration event. It was good to see y'all like looking good, feeling, still can perform. But it also made me think about the good old days, like me being like just looking at y'all from TV or whatever. How is that experience for you? Like, how do you guys see each other? How were you then? Were you guys comrades? Were you friends? And are you now friends because you've grown up? How is it when you see these people?
Right. Well, definitely friends. Some of them, like Rakim, has always been an enigma. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I've seen him more in the last 10 years than I ever saw him.
Okay. Okay.
I did see him perform back in like the late 80s at Union Square. But outside of that, seeing him is very slim.
Yeah.
Kane, that's my brother. We see each other all the time. We've toured throughout time, together. We dropped records in the same year. So, KRS-One, that's my brother. Chuck D, Heavy D, I miss him dearly. Fat Joe is a new brother of mine.
Okay.
Within the last 5, 6 years, we did an episode of Queen of the South together.
Okay. Okay.
Same with Remy. So I did an episode. No, I did an episode of Queen of the South with Remy, and that's how we became close. And I did an episode of the reboot for New York Undercover with Fat Joe, and that's how we became close. So I think if you've given the time, you can find out from a conversation if you're compatible. Like, do we like the same things? Are we
Right.
on the same wavelength? I remember with Joe, I called him up to get on a record. And I wasn't able to go into the studio when he dropped it, but I happened to be in New York. So I called him. I said, okay, studio set, head there. He was like, all right, I'm going to get there. I'm going to get there. I said, okay, cool. After it was all over, I listened. I was like, God, dog it. Come on, Joey. Should I have been in the studio with you? Ma, come on, this is today's times. I had to say what I had to say. Come on, Ma. I had to make it relevant. I was like,
What did
all
you do?
right.
Curse too much? Well,
Just made references to
Yeah.
his junk.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh God. I should have been at the studio. He was like, no, I would have went down the same way.
oh man, Joe, come on now.
But I love Joe because
Yeah, no,
he's so
shout out to him.
truthful. Yeah, he's so on point. But yeah, I think to answer your question, there are some people that I've always been tight with, and then there are people now, if given the time to be able to talk, that's when you find out that, oh, okay, we got something in common. It's cool to be able to learn one another and just have someone else in the business. I think that the advent of the internet, it really, when I tap in to social media, it just lets me see how relevant hip hop is, how much we're growing, how deliberate and intentional we are with our businesses. It just makes me feel like I'm a part of something powerful.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think about self destruction, for example, all the time, and how we took the reins, to really try to control our destiny. Sometimes I don't feel that we're in control now. Do you? Well, I should ask, what are your thoughts on the evolution of hip hop? There's a lot to be said, positive and negative. You just mentioned the positive, but I do have my concerns, especially with so many folks dying or drug overdoses, just about everything you can name. Is that more an indictment of the culture, American culture, or is that somewhat within our own culture, subculture?
You know what? I always say that art imitates life. And so the things that we're seeing that seem so, hyper sensationalized, if I can put those two together, is because there's such a magnifying glass on hip hop.
Yeah, yeah.
But hip hop is a reflection of what's happening in the community. And then what happens is then the community watches hip hop and it becomes magnified even more so. So unfortunately, yes, the drugs get glamorized, most recently seeing Nikki do an interview where she said Future doesn't even do drugs. And I was like,
Right.
is this for real?
Right, right.
Like, why? In my day, you don't fake doing drugs
Right, yeah.
because drugs ain't really cool, you know? So, in any case, I think it's people now putting in hip hop what they think people want to hear.
Right, right, right.
And honestly,
50 didn't drink or smoke, by the way, either. So
yeah.
he had us fooled for a minute.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
But then in the end they do. You
Yeah,
know, like,
now he does.
right.
I saw him once at least,
Right,
maybe a
they
little
start.
champagne, but
Right. So, my style of presentation to hip hop is I don't care what you really like to hear. I'm going to give this to you and hopefully you'll like it, but I'm staying true to who it is now. And of course, it took time for me to develop into that person. And this record is that. I call this record my ministry
yeah,
because I'm speaking truth to power. Well, whether you like it or not, hopefully, if I can catch you at the right time, I might be able to lead you somewhere different from where it is you're being led to right now.
yeah, because 101 almost has, obviously working with Warren probably helps, but sounds very almost gospel, like gospel hip hop. It definitely starts out almost like a gospel record, and then you start, like you said, talking different topics, pretty heavy subject matter as well. So, but
I,
that's an evolution, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, definitely. With Thank You, with Woman, King King, very purposeful records.
yeah,
And it's not until you get into the album, you're like, oh, okay, she's talking about that. And that was one of the things that Afian and I talked about. He was like, well, you don't want to sound too preachy. And I was like, I'm not calling you back to the studio. No.
right,
No, I
right.
was like, oh, okay. Now I've got to approach it with, we're having fun. I'm telling you who I am, but look what I learned in the midst of
Yeah.
this. I mean, for somebody to get on record and say, I was in the devil's den and now I'm out and I can speak the truth. I can tell you what it's like in there. And if you give yourself over to God, you can make your way into the light. No pun intended.
Right. That's powerful. I wanted to ask you about 1993, Roughneck,
Yes.
and the album. What was I forget?
Ain't no other. Was
Ain't no,
there ain't
you
no
know,
other?
yeah.
I'm not always on point with
Okay.
that, but when you said roughneck, I was yeah.
Well, that period, you went. I felt like just like a hard right turn. Like you was just rugged and rough. I almost felt it was almost out of character from what I know you as or what you presented as. Where were you in that year, in that form?
In '93.
Yeah.
Well, I always like to be specific as can be. If an album came out in 93, it was 91 or 92
Okay.
when it was recorded, because that's
Okay.
how long it took us to put out
Yeah.
music. And so, first off, I think they just let me loose.
Yeah.
That's primarily what it was, but it also was everything took a turn. I mean, we were with Crisscross, with, when it's just act like that. We had Cypress Hill,
Yeah.
Lords of the Underground.
Yeah.
We were hit with all of these like really hard records. And I'm trying to remember the producer's name that I started working with. That was his studio was on top of like a Chinese restaurant on Flatbush in Brooklyn. And his name is escaping me, but he has some of the hardest tracks I
Right.
had ever heard. And I wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And so I just think, much like LL, as you ride through the times, you kind of do what you do to the adapted sound of what is now hot in
Yeah.
hip hop.
Yeah.
And so that's what that was a result of.
And it kind of worked too because that was Roughneck is that your biggest record? You won a Grammy with that record, am I right?
No, I was nominated.
You're nominated.
Yeah, I
okay.
wish. Yeah, but I was nominated. It just so happens Deep Cover came out the same. Yeah, exactly.
And Dr. Dre.
Right. So we know who took it in that category.
Right.
But no, I think it might have been Cold Rock a Party.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it depends. You ask the hood, it's paper thin.
Right.
You
right.
ask another, hood, it's Poor Georgie. It's like it just depends. As Chicago, it's light as a rock. It
Right.
just depends.
Wanted to ask you real quick. We talked about the voter registration event.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Kamala running and Trump
Right.
as a thing?
Yeah, as a thing. To me, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Like we've lived through all types of leadership, some good, some bad, some better, some worse. I tend to think that this is an opportunity to let a woman lead and see where it is that we're able to go. I feel like this is an opportunity of a lifetime, and we all need to seize it and put that particular person in office who is a woman, obviously. However, I don't really think that should be that should be the alienating factor. This is the right person for the job when we're looking at the two of these candidates.
Yeah. What do you think about the men? Well, I don't want to home in on the men because it's not only men, but there is, for whatever reason, some pushback. Men typically are the most vocal or the loudest, and a lot of them are from hip hop, which to me shocks me because, and I won't name names, but some of them were like our conscious brothers from back in the day who we really trusted their voices. Now I feel a lot of them don't make a lot of sense with why they won't support or why they are even for Trump. Like it oftentimes to me just doesn't add up.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, is it as basic as we don't want a woman, or is it as basic as we just like we want a white man leading us? Like I'm not sure.
I don't know if this holds true for the people that you're speaking of, but I think a lot of people feel like it doesn't matter. So if it doesn't matter and somebody just paid me whatever to go perform on their stage to big them up or make it feel like I'm in alignment with what it is that they believe, they will just go do it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some of us will have to feel the brunt and the heat of what it is that we casually give credence to. So, all I can say is I don't really put my mind on the small percentage that are saying no. I want to elevate and empower the people who know what this race is all about and what's at stake and just push them to then grab up everybody that they know and go vote for the right person.
Yeah. Do you ever get to talk to young rappers? Like, and if so, what do those conversations look like?
Like, well, it's so funny. I just got a long message from Rhapsody, and then I just gave her a long message back. It can be an array of things. It can be about the business. It could just be about what they're facing on tour, what they're facing with the label, decisions that are being made, things they're okay with, things they're not okay with. Just a safe space. And then sometimes, and I'm sure you know about this, depending on who you're around, is the turn that the conversation can take or the turn that the topic can take. So I know that if something's not going too right in my relationship, there's a couple of people I don't talk to because they'll be like, that, you know? And I'm like, no, I'm not sure I want to go all the way over there. So let me talk to this person who's going to give it to me easy. So I think when they talk to me, they know that, you know, I'm somewhat level-headed and I'm going to give them the truth, but not in a way where it exasperates a situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Gonna keep it
Your sage wisdom. Sage wisdom.
keep it evenly keeled.
Right. Now let's talk real quick a little bit about the period between albums.
Yeah.
The rough times. I mean, well, let me not assume it's rough times, but I would imagine transitioning out at least momentarily from being an MC and an artist into some of the other things. We most notably know you are a voice artist. How was the transitioning, or how did you figure that out?
I don't think I ever stopped one to do the other. So it wasn't a transitioning out, it was more so an adding on.
Okay.
You know, an addition to. And so early on when my manager was like, we got to make your name a household name with or without a hit record. And I was like, oh, okay, so that means, so let me go take some acting classes. And it meant me moving to LA, which the record label didn't want that to happen. But I was like, I have to, because I'm going to go do this thing. And so, and same thing with voiceover. I started voiceover coaching classes and just getting myself ready. So the times that may have been rough weren't economically. They were things that I was putting my own self through, you know. Yeah, and those things had more to do with, am I right for this business? You know, just second guessing myself.
Right.
So, you know, once I dug down and was like, okay, I didn't go to school and I was set to.
Norfolk State.
I don't know, right? I don't have a trade. Like, I can't fix your water heater. Like, I said, okay, so I need to dig in deep with all of these other things that I said at one point I wanted to do, but now I need to really concentrate on putting my efforts in getting there. So, yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So acting, let's talk about that a little bit. You got a new show coming out.
Yeah.
With BET Plus.
Yeah, BET
Can you
Plus.
tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's called Angel. It comes off of Dutch, True to the Game.
Okay.
It's like the story before Dutch when he was a younger person. And so, yeah, I play she wants to be a good detective, but sometimes in order to close the case, she'll make the glove fit.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good phrase.
Yeah, she's a little hardcore.
Yeah.
Detective Monroe. But it's fun to play. It's an all black production in terms of the production company, so that's great to be a part of something huge. And yeah, I'm having fun.
They
with
like you as a detective in Hollywood. Why is that? Why?
maybe I just look like a sleuth.
A sleuth.
I'm about to find it out. Yeah, well, in Queen of the South, I played a bad Haitian Killer.
Oh yeah, I gotta
Yeah.
see that.
With Jamie Hector. I played
Oh
his
yeah,
sister.
Marlo from The
Yeah,
Wire. All right,
exactly.
yeah.
I played his sister. So
Okay.
that was fun.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I played a detective quite a few times.
Hmm.
SWAT and yeah.
Do you have any other roles you are interested in, or any like aspirations as an actor?
As an actor, no. As a director, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do
I'm
you?
looking
What do you?
forward to directing.
Yeah.
I had my directorial debut a couple years ago with a short called "Break Up in Love," which
Hmm.
is online, by the way, on
Okay.
YouTube. And we won a couple of awards, which was really nice. We went to Cannes,
Yeah.
which is I wasn't really expecting, but that was great. I think, yeah, I want to be a part of some projects that in the beginning helped me to sort of see the dream come
Hmm.
true and then get more involved in developing those projects and taking them to the screen.
Got you.
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you about that Will Smith album. Did it ever? It never came out, right?
No,
Where is it right now? Where is that album?
it probably
Well, the
lives.
album from Overbrook
Yeah,
Records, I should.
from Overbrook. I think it may live on one of my laptops that I call the Vault. Yeah.
Yo.
I told everybody I was going to play some music every Monday from the vault.
Mm.
And then I got working on the new project that came
Hmm.
out. So I said, let me delay that. But yeah, I've got songs from Pharrell.
Hmm.
I've got songs from Teddy.
Mm.
It's so funny because Haven't You Heard? Patrice Rushen.
Hmm.
I did a version of that. And before it had the opportunity to come out, Kirk Franklin did a version.
What?
Yeah, so I was like, damn.
Oh
I
man.
was
You could still remix it maybe.
yeah.
Wow. Well, you should definitely do that.
Mhm.
I'm sure you could even probably put it, maybe not. But
No.
and I also like how you just say Teddy and we just know exactly
Oh,
who
Teddy Riley.
we
You
know
know what,
exactly who you're
let me
talking
tell
about
you,
though.
my COO gets on me about that. She was like, what are these one names?
Right.
Everybody doesn't know who you're talking about.
Right.
I'm like, outside of Teddy Pendergrass, I don't know another Teddy,
Yeah.
but I should be mindful to say
No, I mean
full
we
name.
know
I
who you're
can't say
talking about.
Chuck.
Well, we gotta fix that.
Well, because you got Chuck D.
Right, true, true.
You got
Chuck Chill Out.
Chuck Chill
We
Out.
got a few Chuck
Chuck Brown.
Brown. He's a
Yeah.
Chuck. Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Okay. I got a couple questions and I want you to fill in the blanks.
okay. Here we go.
This might be, I don't know. This is basic stuff.
Wow.
MC Light looked up to blank growing up.
Looked up to blank.
It can be real, fictional. It could be.
Right. I think of course I want to say looked up to the stage whenever I was at a Broadway play, but you're talking about a person. I would say my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I saw what she had to do
Yeah.
in order to raise me and, go to school and work at night. And, she had a whole situation that was pretty tough when you think about what I've had to do in life.
Yeah. She must have also had a lot of faith. Was she was a Christian woman? Was she?
Well, her mom was Jehovah's Witness,
Okay.
and then she was Christian.
Yeah.
And then she told me, by the time you're 13, you have to do Bible study. And I was like, okay. She said, so you need to know where you want to do it and who you want to do it with.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to 13 and I couldn't make up my mind. So she got the Jehovah's Witnesses to come to the house for me to learn Bible study every Monday, I think.
Really? Did you know your dad at all?
Yeah,
Yeah. How?
Totally.
What's that like? I've never heard you talk about him.
yeah. I just had dinner with him last night.
Oh.
Yeah, he was with us until I was 3,
Okay.
and then he went back to his family.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, I think as I've gotten older, our relationship is, much more meaningful.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. How is your mom? We talked about that.
Right. She's good. She's in treatment today.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
every other Monday.
Prayers up. Prayers
Thank
up.
you.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much.
If not for hip hop, MC Light would.
Be I want to say somewhere with 3 kids.
Really?
Yeah, because I probably would have just let go earlier. Like I wouldn't have been so careful.
Yeah.
Or I'd be somewhere really high, I think, in an executive position because I work really hard. My work ethic is on point, and so if had stayed somewhere for a longer period of time, I'd kind of be top tier, I think.
Okay. The best era in hip hop was or is.
Somewhere in the 80s and the 90s. Yeah.
It could cross over
It could cross over.
from the late '80s to the maybe early '90s.
Yeah. Mid 90s.
Well,
Mid
the
90s.
golden era. Let's just keep
Yeah,
it a
yeah.
buck.
There
The
you go.
golden era.
The golden era.
Yeah. All right. That was. I don't know. What was I thinking when I
Right.
asked it? MC Light is about to.
Eat breakfast. I'm sorry. I'm all about the here and now. No.
Doubling down on the chips and the breakfast. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah. You have one thing I love on the album. I love skits.
Oh, the interludes.
Interludes. But Easy Mo B, he talked. I listened to that like 4 times.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. His voice is so soothing.
Yeah,
When
it was perfect. And I guess he was talking about aging gracefully, but
yeah.
the way he put it was just almost like, I don't know, it just felt almost like he was talking to me, I think.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, he did a longer piece. We just used that
Okay.
little piece of it. But his whole thing was, Light, I really like what I've seen from you throughout the years because you're able to still have style and grace with, feeling modern, but also having the safety and the foundation of MC Light. So we trust you.
Yeah.
So basically, I haven't led him astray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I gotta ask you a personal question.
Sure.
Do the guys hit on you? Do
Yeah. You know what's so funny is now that I'm older,
yeah.
it took me a minute to understand because there were older men hitting on me.
Okay.
Like with,
Oh,
like with,
okay.
and I was just like, oh, snap.
Right.
I've gotten older, and
Yeah.
now older guys, are making their play. But yeah, it's part of being the light. You know what I'm saying?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Little something. All right. Well, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for you, being a light.
Thank
because a lot of us, old and young, we need people to look up to and to look at. I think I look at you, I look at Kane, Big Daddy Kane. I look at Will Smith. I look at a lot of folks, and this is not really an age thing. It's more like just a forward thinking thing, like almost like people who literally carry the torch through the darkness and you don't know what's ahead, but you can kind of see it a little better. And so I really thank you for sharing your gifts and who you are as a person to us. And I definitely thank you for just coming through, being a person of your word too.
Thank you.
We're still independent, and we get a lot of folks that just
Don't show. Yeah.
So I just definitely wanted to thank you because I don't think people like yourself get thanked enough, especially as
Thank
hip
you,
hop
George.
moves forward and we only are interested in the latest and the hottest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I want to say thank you to All Hip Hop. There are a few outlets that have seen me grow up, and they also know that I'm independent.
Yeah.
And so, I'm always like, well, if we're cool, we're cool. We don't need a lot of words all the time.
Right.
And I can say, hey, I got a new video out. What y'all doing over there?
Yeah.
And the greatest thing is to see something be done.
Yeah.
Others are like, what's she talking about? Like, how's she talking to me like that? Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. I'm just going to say it, right?
Right.
And some people can take it and some people can't. But thank you so much for the love on the platform. It really means a lot that you lend it to me to be able to really tell your audience who I am and what I mean to the culture, because still as a woman, people believe it when a man says it. When a man says you're hot,
Yeah.
they go, oh, I better pay attention.
Yeah.
And so thank you for shining the light on light.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, thanks a lot. And we will tap back in with one on one. One of
right.
one.
Yeah.
One of one.
One of
And
one.
it really holds up, by the way. I can
Thank you.
truthfully say that, not BSing you. I can tell you guys put a lot of time and care into this album. And that's really all I'm looking for
Right.
at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Definitely.